afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment and information as well. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, DeJoly. We are also syndicated worldwide, and that's on Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. Hope we're bringing some topics together and helping you out. This is a weird world that we're in right now. The economy is at a weird stage. The supply chain is just broken, but we've got some answers for you. And I've got DeJoly with me right now, and she and I, we are fellow farmers, right, DeJoly?
That's right.
We are. And you can do it on a huge scale. You can even have a garden on a quarter of an acre. And DeJoly, let me tell you about this. We were living in Oxford, Alabama. That's where my dad's side of the family was. And I grew up there. We moved to Geraldine in DeKalb County a little bit later in life. I was 14 when we moved here. But there was a neighbor I had in Oxford. And I'm going to say she probably had a quarter of an acre of land, and the house took up most of it. But in the back was, honest to goodness, the Garden of Eden. There was no grass. So everything was a garden spot with her. And she was constantly canning. She was always giving me, her name was Mrs. Bergdorfer, and from up north. And I'm going to tell you, this woman had a green thumb and a half. And so you don't have to have 38 acres. You can have a farm on a quarter of an acre. It doesn't matter. You can actually have a farm, or you can have a garden if you're living in a townhouse, as long as you have some windows with some sunlight, because now you can do hydroponics.
That's right.
All these things.
Mm-hmm.
What say you, DeJoly?
What
do you say about this?
I say you can grow things everywhere. I've grown stuff here inside and outside. Now I have a greenhouse that I'm enjoying, and things are getting started really nicely. Been planting already from the greenhouse into the ground. So I'm really happy with what I can do. But you're right. Everywhere, anywhere can be a place to plant something. But the key is only to plant things that you'll eat. Because a lot of people grow stuff and they just throw it away because they don't really want to eat that. So for me, I just pick the things that I'd really like to eat to grow.
Mm-hmm. There's a commercial comes on television. I love this commercial. And there's a guy, he's with his little girl, and he's in a garden. He's talking about his dad had a farm. And he said his dad actually planted things so he could give it away.
Huh. I give away to the rabbits. Rabbits and deer. I say if they want what I've got, I plant double. So if they want what I've got, then they can have their share, and I'll keep my share, and we'll live amicably together here. So.
Well, a lot of stuff I've learned from trial and error, and it's okay to make mistakes. Just write it down in a journal. I have a journal. I write everything down, when I planted it and what happened and the mistake I made. Don't do it again. And so one of the things I have learned, because before I would plant everything on the ground, which is kind of hard to do right here where I'm at. We have rocks and it's really sandy soil. So it's hard to keep that pH balance the way it needs to be on the ground. Mm-hmm. But what has helped me, because I had rabbits would eat everything I planted. Mm-hmm. I would wake up one morning and look, and there would be nothing but a stem. And so this is what has been working for me the past 2 years. And that's a concrete block garden. And concrete cinder blocks is what I'm talking about. But you have to get the big one. And so for the most part, nothing is being destroyed by rabbits. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they can't sense that it's higher, because I plant them like 2 blocks high.
Oh, yeah. I've been doing my herbs in the cinder blocks. I haven't done potatoes yet, but I might someday. But I've put dill and parsley and basil and and they grow fantastically, and those never get eaten. And what I've done is I put my strawberries in one of those kiddie swimming pools, and of course put holes in the bottom so it gets water drainage. But around that is where I put my herbs. So if the rabbits want to think about eating the strawberries, they have to get through all the blocks first. Mm-hmm. So apparently they don't have that kind of a brain where they can look up and see that there's something on the other side. So my strawberries flourish.
Yeah, mine do too. And I think that's why, if you see excuse me, I have asthma. So this time of the year is just murder on my system and my lungs. But I found something that actually works. So this is lemon juice, water, and then I have, look there, basil in it.
Yeah.
And so what I do is it's kind of like your tinctures,
Hmm.
and but I don't. There's no alcohol in it, or I wouldn't be able to have a show. So anyway, what I do is I cut them up in pieces, and so it's like that oils and stuff kind of drain down into that water, and I'm drinking that all day long, and it really helps. And then
Hmm.
I chew on the basil as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
it's just I've noticed a difference in the past week since I've been doing this.
Well, my son had allergies, and I made for him what I called a green drink because he loved orange juice. So I would open up an alfalfa capsule into the orange juice and have him drink that. And
Mhm.
over a period of, I think it was maybe 6 months at the most, he didn't have allergies anymore because he was drinking the alfalfa drink.
Uh-huh.
He called it his green drink, and because alfalfa made the orange juice green. So I think by imposing the alfalfa, or for you the basil, into your drink, you're getting some immunity to whatever's out there. You know,
Mhm.
you could probably get some sort of bee pollen and add to it, and that would even help more. I hint hint your bee pollen.
And I'm gonna tell you what, I thought I had lost the bees. I wake up one morning and I'm tendering these things, and Phil built a big, sugar block. So they've been eating on that all winter. They stayed all winter long. And 2 weeks ago, walked outside, there were no bees,
Oh wow,
but they came back.
how about that?
Weird. I thought I'd lost them forever. We're about to get two more sets of bees in. Now so we'll have even more, but I'm really excited about that. I really am. And really helps the garden. And so Phil wants to cut the grass, and I won't let him do it because the dandelions are out there, and my
That's
bees have to have
that's
that.
their first meal. That's their first meal. So I leave mine too until I can't stand it anymore, and then I cut them.
I walk out and I use my leg for a test gauge, and so
Yeah,
I walk out. If it hits the knee, it's time to go.
there you go. Exactly.
But I've learned a lot of things with this Master Gardener's class on
Hmm.
how to prune, and so I'm really excited about this coming season.
Well, tell me more about what you were talking about earlier with the blueberries. I'd like to know because I have blueberries that have gotten woody and
Mhm.
tall, but they're not producing the biggest blueberries, or even sometimes last year they didn't even produce blueberries. They had all kinds of blossoms. They were heavy with blossoms, but they didn't produce blueberries. So what are you doing? I want to know.
I learned from an awesome farmer. And
Yay.
so Brian Brown, who is our instructor, takes us to a blueberry farmer. And he also has blackberries and raspberries, just all kinds of things out there. But I really got focused on the blueberries because it seems to be what I've had the most problem with. Again, we have like 4 trees, five, one coming up.
Mm.
And so the issue has been I've been leaving all of the limbs, uh, doing very little pruning. So I was talking to this farmer, and so we're all pruning, it's a class, we're learning how to prune. And so I said, you know what? Looks like you're killing the tree. Are we killing it? And he said, no. He said, tell me about your blueberries. And I said, well, I'm almost ashamed to tell you about them. And he said, what do you mean? He said, they're about the size of a pea. And I said, how did you know? He said, because you're not pruning enough. And I said, well, what do I do? So this is how he explains it to me. He said, so you're letting all these limbs and everything grow together. They're just kind of like in a bush on your tree, right? He said, do you find a loss of blueberries? And I said, yeah, a lot of them, like a storm comes up, they're on the ground. And he said, it's because you're not pruning. He said, what's happening is they're all coiled in there together. A big wind comes through and it just knocks the tree around like this. Well, guess what? What blueberries you do have are falling on the ground. Then he said, you've got to thin those out. You can't have them crossing each other. You've got to think about the future with your blueberry tree. And he said, so what you're going to do, you're going anything that's touching, you want to get rid of it. Okay. So cut it off.
Mhm.
And so you're constantly cutting off anything that's crossing. If it's a young limb, you could leave it for a brief period of time. He said, but you are constantly pruning. He said, it's not just this season right now. He said, you're going to walk through your blueberry trees and he said, your clipper is going to be your best friend. I think, oh, I've got where I walk around with these all the time now. I've even got them in my studio. So this is your best friend. Now, one thing about clippers, you've got to make sure, and I didn't clean them because I wanted you to see how dirty they can get. And and it's worth paying a little more and getting the Fiskars or, something, these are really, really good clippers. I had these for a long time. You've got to clean them. And so just rubbing alcohol. And this right here came from one of our sponsors right here, Dollar General store. And it's about $1, something like that. And so what you'll do is just pour this on your clippers. And then you'll wipe them off. And the reason you do that is in case there was to be a diseased branch or whatever, part of that disease could be in your clipper. And then as you're clipping, all you're doing is spreading the disease. So get in the habit. The number one thing, every farmer I've talked with has said the same story. Clean your clippers. Rubbing alcohol is best. And then just wipe it off and then use it when you're ready to do that again, when you're ready to clip. So that's number one. And then getting rid of branches that cross over each other. You must do that. There needs to be an airflow. Like with a peach tree, we learned this last year with a peach tree. A peach tree has to have air coming on the inside. So when you're trimming branches, you want it to be almost like a flower. You want it to be like this. We did that, and we went from having hardly any peaches on it, and they were little bitty suckers, kind of like that. They didn't grow very much. They were as hard as rocks. To having, I don't even know how many peaches I had when we actually did it the right way. Mm-hmm. It was just, I've had dry peaches. We've done peach jam. We've got peaches in jars. We've got peaches all over the place. And it's because of the correct pruning way. Okay. And you've got to have airflow on the inside of blueberries the same way. There has to be an airflow. So this way, and we're going to have storms. I mean, we're in Tornado Alley, right? Right. So when you've got that airflow going right here, and I'm going to turn around. So I'm walking around. Let's pretend this is my tree. So I'm walking around my tree like this. There's airflow. So even if you do have a storm and it's doing this to the tree, the branches aren't hitting each other. Thus, you're not losing any blueberries. So that's the key right there. There has to be no move. There's going to be some movement. That's just life. There's going to be some movement. And through the summer and through the season, if you see one spurted out and it's grown, it's got right here and it's hitting another one, it's hitting another branch, you need to prune him off. Okay. And it's going to make all the energy, by the way, goes into the branches you've left. You're going to have some big blueberries. Yay. That would be good. It takes forever to fill up it takes, the way it has been the past few years, if I get any, I've had pretty good run with them, but they're so little. Mm-hmm. And it takes forever to put any in a bucket. I mean, it just takes forever. So you want the big juicy ones right here, and the fruit's going to be tastier. The fruit's going to be juicier. Okay. And that sounds good. That sounds good to me. I've got 4 bushes and, not to have any fruit on it last year after all the blossoms that it produced. And now you're saying that even though there are blossoms on it right now, I can go ahead and prune them? Do it now. You want to do it, but yeah, because we still got a little bit cool. And I think God's blessed us with cool. I've been fussing about the cold weather. Is it ever going to be springtime? But see, we've been so busy with the show and with the station, what have you, haven't had a whole lot of time left, to bring those trees. So we'd really just got everything done this weekend. So we've been blessed by having a longer winter. So it's actually allowed me to have more time, and you have too. So you're going to be able to get those pruned. Okay, good. Before the end of this month. And we're probably going to have some more storms this week. Okay, we're a little bit past. Let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment and information. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's in North Alabama. You can also find us on syndicated television. That's Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I want to talk about your greenhouse. I've got to get by and see that. How did you construct it?
I made it out of old windows and a storm door so that I could have airflow all the time or cut it off if it was going to be too cold or snow or rainy or whatever. But I made it. I looked on the internet and there were all kinds of ideas, and I thought, well, I can design something. And all I did was put it out there to find old windows. Mm-hmm. And I used 3 large, floor to ceiling thermal windows on one side, and then old, way old windows that just had that thin glass. And then we developed a framework for it, and it became, top to bottom windows on 3 sides. And then I used corrugated metal to use it for a rain catchment. Uh-huh. So it's got one side, the one side that doesn't have windows it has that reflective insulation on it so that the heat in the wintertime stays close to the, like I put water in there so that the gallons of water are heated by the sun. Even though it's cold outside, the water stays warm, and so it stays pretty much about 51 degrees in there, 50 degrees in there through the winter. And so I can always put a heater in it or whatever, but I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And so on one side, I have a long shelf and a lower open pit, which is for the plants that I want to put in the ground, so to speak, there, as opposed to putting them in little pots to start seedlings to put outside. So I have two parts, and one of these days I'm going to maybe do this show from my greenhouse
I want to.
so that you see that what it's like. Or you can come over and we can do whatever you're going to do here, from the for the show.
Let's plan on it next month if you have time.
Okay, I'm sure I will. You got to get me, a date.
We'll do that after the show. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah. So, but I love a greenhouse because, if I don't have any plants growing in there, I have a bench in there that I can sit down and just read a book if I want to.
That's
Or
what I like.
And so it has a window on one side that's screened, and also there's it slides. So it slides out. If it's winter time, I have a wooden door there, and it can slide in and the screen can slide in, or opposite. Yesterday I took out the wood and put in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the upper side, opposite that, there's a window that's on a pulley that opens up. And so there's airflow all the time. It goes from the top to the bottom across. So it keeps airflow going. And then I can always put a fan in there to get more airflow if I want to. And during the day, I open the door. So the door itself is wide open and I go in and out and do my work out there. So it's a really nice place to start food. And it's also the bottom part has that big area where I can actually grow things that can't handle direct sunlight, like spinach and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's a great idea right there. And it's always warmer because I like to plant. I have to see green.
Yeah.
That's my favorite color. And during the dark, dreary days of winter, I want to. So that's why I started the hydroponics. And I haven't sent you any pictures lately, but there's a few things I've learned about hydroponics. And one of those things is lettuce grows really good in there. But the problem is the lettuce can get a little bit too big for its branches. You know what I mean? Because roots are huge.
Yeah.
So what I'm having to do, and I went on ahead and started the tomatoes in it. The tomatoes grow huge roots too. So I've already had to take them out of it because they're hogging up all the water. So
there you go. They do. They will. They have a big taproot. I didn't realize that until, a couple of years ago when I was trying to do that, not hydroponically, but otherwise. I had them in buckets. And man, they have that long taproot. And you got to go way far down to get them out of the ground to put them someplace else. So I'm glad you're doing it with your hydroponics early enough that you can get them out of there because they will hog all the water.
Well, guess what? I have 40-something plants.
Oh, my goodness.
That's just the tomatoes.
Oh, my gosh.
Whoa. So what I've learned you can do, you got to be really, really careful with those roots because if you damage them, well, then the plant's dead.
That's right.
The most important part, they're all important components. So you've got, you got your roots, you can have tap roots, and then you've got your stem, you've got the leaves. So the leaves are going to really show you the hardiness of the plant. So if you're having yellowy, whatever, well, then you may, need to add some kind of fertilizer. But that root is extremely important. So you got a good root, then you're going to have a good stem, then you're going to have good leaves.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's part of it. And I'm going to tell you something else. We've propagated raspberries.
Tell us about that.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't think they would all come up. Now, there's, and they did. So I wound up, and Phil always has my concrete blocks, and so they're the big ones, the 16 inches and what have you. And so what I've learned about raspberries is they're actually canes. And, raspberries and blackberries, and I've got the thornless blackberries, but now the raspberries do have thorns. So I found an easier way. And that's to have the one cane growing up at a time. Okay, so I've put one cane. We've propagated. I planted 44. I guess we're going to have a raspberry farm this year. And so I've propagated and put one in each of the holes of the cinder blocks. So I've got 44 total. And I've got enough for 44 more. I'll probably be doing that this afternoon when I get through taping the shows.
You have leather gloves.
Yes, I do. I got some good gloves. Actually, I have 2 sets of gloves that are leather that I actually use in beekeeping.
Hmm.
And so they're just right. I mean, they are just
Or welding.
right, right. And so it's just right for that. So propagated. Now there's and I forgot the name of it. It comes in a little. You can find it at the farmer's mart or at the co-op. I meant it's co-op, and you probably get it at Walmart or Lowe's as well. But it's a little. It's a root. You use just a little. It's just a little tiny thing right here, and kind of like a little cosmetic jar. Something that looks something like that, but it's round, kind of like that. And what you do is just a tiny bit. You dip a part of the root into this compound, and then
Right.
you shake it off,
Hmm.
and then you put that into the dirt.
Yeah, I
And
do.
so I've wound up. I'm going to tell you what the roots love it.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some of that as well. And then I've learned a few things about beans. I found snow peas. You got me into snow peas. Remember the last time you were on the show?
I love snow peas. Yeah.
I found some snow peas. See.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so I've learned something else, and you probably already do this, but before you get them ready to plant, I get paper towels and I moisten them. And then I've got a little spray bottle with water. I spritz them every day. And so what you do is put the seeds on the paper towel, and then you want to fold it over and put your label so you can remember what it was. I'm doing this with sunflower seeds as well. And so then I'm putting it inside plastic, and I'm already seeing little roots come out of those, and I only planted them 3 days ago. So I'm going to do that with the beans too. Now I tried the hydroponics with the beans. Out of 10 seeds, only one's going to come up, but I think one gets a good sprout and he hogs all the water. So the rest
Well, what I learned about beans is that you take a small piece of very fine sandpaper, and where the root will come up, you sandpaper that a little bit just so that it will have its space to do it. And then you don't have to go through the paper towel thing. You can, but I put them directly into a tiny, small pot like that. And within a few days, they're up and ready to, start getting leaves on them. So that's how I do it, because somebody told me how to do that. You're learning, I'm learning, or sharing information, and I love it.
Oh, always. Can you believe we only have a minute and a half left?
Oh my goodness.
What would you like to share? I know you've had a lot of successes in gardening, and I feed off of you. I don't know if you know that, but I do. I've learned a lot from you. What would you like to tell the folks before we go? A little bit over a minute left.
Just that, for me, green, new growth is a symbol for me. I look at it as part of my spiritual life, all the connection with the earth that I can get. And that green gives me hope that there's new life coming, that there's new nurturing coming, and that my life can be filled with that if I focus on that. And that's what I want to focus on, is the newness of life every day, and focus in the moment on loving that particular life.
And real quick, you're also an author and a speaker. What is your website?
DeJoly.com.
Spell it for us.
DeJoly.
That's a
DeJoly.
beautiful name. Beautiful name. DeJoly, thank you so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for watching. If you have any other suggestions for shows, please send those. I'll have to tell you, DeJoly, everybody is absolutely loving the gardening shows. So we'll keep more of that coming for you as well. We talked about relationships just a few days ago. So the difference between men and women, there's a big difference between us all. I'm just telling you.
That's right.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And thank you, DeJoly. Love you bunches.
Love you. Bye-bye.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you in just a few minutes with another awesome guest.